Hello everyone, back with another round of the Oceania International Pokemon Trading Card Game Championships. It is I, the Ninjanik333, and we have our top 8. I unfortunately am cutting it off a little bit. We have Owen Cameraman versus Grant Shen, Yurko Valencia versus Azul Garcia Griego. We have Pedro Eugenio Torres versus Reagan Retzloff, and Raz Wolp versus Rahul Reddy. Alright, so let us get into the top 8. Looks like we will see Pedro versus Reagan as our top 8 match here. Let's see if we can get into their accomplishments. We have Pedro with Warsaw, Stuttgart champions, champion of Warsaw and Stuttgart regionals, OCIC champion of 2017. So he's won this tournament specifically before. Top 4 of Worlds 2018. These are some pretty great accomplishments. Reagan over here got top 8 in Orlando. That was the previous tournament. Finalist in NAIC. That's our last NAIC. He got second. That was crazy. I believe that was that in seniors. Did he just age up? No, they didn't. Oh, no, he was senior NAIC finalist, junior NAIC champion. So that's crazy. So we have, so that's quite a bit of accomplishments for Reagan. I do know of Reagan. I had a junior who turned senior from my local area that would always test with these guys, Reagan, Brady Guy, and all of them. Unfortunately, he no longer plays. Big sad. A lot of people like to just move on to bigger and better things like high school, I guess. So we are shuffling up for our first game. This is the first match of top 8. Top 8 of the Oceania International Pokemon Trading Card Game Championships. And we have, it looks like, the judge that likes to make people play left-handed on the stream yet again. So we will have to see if that comes into play for any penalties for making somebody play backwards. We are thoroughly shuffling up here. I know that Reagan is playing Lugia. I do not quite remember what Pedro is playing, but I saw a Metal Energy, so I'm assuming he was one of the Gudra players that we had featured in day 1. I don't quite remember. There have been a lot of rounds that we have seen. I always love those shirts that they give to people when they go on stream with the trainer on the back that says Play Pokemon on the front. Would love to have one of those someday. Gotta lose some weight to fit into the shirts I already own, though. We have Boss's Orders, Powerful Colorless Energy, Serena, Double Turbo Energy, Bird Keeper, and Quick Ball in the prize cards for Reagan. Overall, nothing super important. Bird Keeper and Boss might come into play. Serena can be a little annoying as well. That's another way to bring up a Gudra early. I do see... No, it must be something else. It's not Gudra. It is a Lost Box deck, though. We do have Snorlax and Psychic Energy. We have a Drapion prized, Quick Ball, Switch Cart, and Sableye as well. So yeah, definitely not Gudra. But it does have Metal Energy, which is odd. Unless he's just playing Sableye in Gudra. Oh, no, he was the one who was playing the Raikou Lost Box. That is correct. So very interesting to see this exact version of Lost Box. It's not as popular. Playing V Pokemon in Lost Box is just not something that you normally see, just because the strength of Lost Box is generally the fact that it is a bunch of one-prize attackers. That is why I like Azul's inclusion of the Zeraora a lot better. It does Raikou's job just the same, but on a one-prizer that has free retreat. Raikou does have its merits, though. It can hit a lot harder if your opponent overbenches. And also it has that fleet-footed ability, which we already saw Pedro use, which allows you to once per turn just draw a card if it's active. If you were to be playing multiple Raikous and like switch cards, you could keep using them to just keep drawing one card. But you usually just want to save that for Comfey, because Comfey can see too deep, and it sets up your Lost Zone for those Mirage Gate turns. We are, of course, prize checking here. It is very important to note that top 8 is 75 minutes, so it is much more likely that these games will be finishing within the time frame. There is also no ties in Top Cut, because it is single elimination. Somebody has to come out a winner from now on in every game. So, if it would become a tie, they actually do go by prize cards. Whoever has taken the most prize cards is the one who comes out the winner after the 3 turns. So we do have the capture energy on the Raikou V. Gets out the Radiant Greninja, which is fantastic since he has a couple basic energy already in hand that are discardable. We do draw into the Battle VIP Pass. It looks like we actually... Oh no, that's Boss's Orders. I thought we had 2 for a second, but that's just another card with a red background on its art. We do have the Battle VIP Pass. That could get us into a couple of Comfey. I do not see any options to switch right now, so we might not be able to use a flower selecting this turn. We'll have to see if that ends up mattering. The Luminion is the start for Reagan. That does make Pedro's start a lot stronger because he is able to just attack very hard, like hit very hard with the Raikou V onto that Luminion. It does share the same lightning weakness that Lugia V has, although it is not able to be protected by the Dunsparce. Although I do know for a fact that Reagan is not playing Dunsparce. He's playing a list very similar to the one that I have been playing recently. He is, I think, like 3 or 4 cards off, but all of those cards are changes that I keep considering and then going against and then considering and then going against. It's just so hard. It's like Lugia really feels like a deck that wants to play like 64 cards because there are just a few tech options that seem really good, like Dunsparce. I think that you can play around having no Dunsparce in your deck, just not so much in the Reggie matchup. I think if you are going into Knoxville regionals, I think Dunsparce is a must because a lot more people will be inclined to play Reggie since Rahul and Sam Chen both did so well. As you can see, we did see Sam Chen on the win and potentially in the previous round. However, he ended up bubbling at 9th. He was the first bubble. So somebody made it in at his match point total, but unfortunately it was not Sam. But Rahul did make it in, playing the exact same 60, so we may see him on stream at some point, and we will have to see if he is able to make the same type of comebacks that Sam was able to do in his game. We do see Reagan quick balls to, he puts down a Lugia V. I believe we are quick balling now to get something else. Looks like the Manaphy is being eyed up here. Maybe another Lugia. I do believe Lugia would be a good thing to get down right now. I also should mention that Pedro did not get double Comfey. He did get an Oranguru. I do believe that that is better since he was not able to switch into one of the Comfeys and flower selecting. He is able to just stack the top card of his deck and prevent Marnies from really affecting him too much with the Oranguru. Reagan is, of course, prize checking as well. He wants to make sure he knows what energies and which Pokemon are available to him, as well as which tech trainer cards. We do get a second Lugia V down, so there will be the option of Lugia VStar on the next turn, whether a Lugia gets knocked out or not. We do get a Choice Belt down on the Lugia. I don't think the damage from Choice Belt will matter too much in this matchup. The only real V Pokemon Pedro will be attacking with in this game is the Raikou V, which already gets one shot by Lugia, even if a double turbo energy is on it. We are going to research and draw a fresh hand of 7 cards. A nice big one. We do have a Radiant Charizard, it looks like, in there, a double turbo. We've already attached for turn, though. We also have that Yveltal, which is good for taking one-shots on things. If Pedro was playing the Goodra, it would be extra good against that, but unfortunately he is not, so the Yveltal is not that great. So Reagan is just retreating the Luminion into it, knowing that that Raikou is about to take a very big knockout. So we want to feed it the Yveltal since it is a 1-prizer instead of the Luminion, which would be 2. Force Pedro to have something along the lines of Boss's Orders or Serena in order to pull up one of those Lugias or the Luminion to take 2 prize cards this turn. Pedro's Raikou is actually hitting 140 damage right now. It does 20 plus another 20 damage for each Pokemon on the bench for both players in total. So that is 6 total benched Pokemon times 20 is 120, plus the base 20 is 140 damage. Times 2 for Luminion and Lugia's weakness is actually 280 damage, just enough to one-shot a Lugia VMAX. So that goes to show you exactly how powerful Dunsparce can be in this matchup for a Lugia deck. We are using our Fleet-Footed, our Oranguru, our concealed cards. We're not getting too much of anything super useful for right now. We already do have a Boss's Orders, so I believe that will be played on the Choice Belted Lugia, and that is exactly what happens as I'm saying it. The Raikou is here. He is fully powered up. He drew that Lightning Energy for turn. I do believe he already had one. Oh, and that is right. Pedro also plays the Zamazenta with the Retaliate attack. It does 100 and... it does, I believe, 100 plus 120 more if a Pokemon, one of your Pokemon was knocked out last turn, I believe is exactly how it works. I'm not 100% sure. It's been a whole 24 hours or 48 hours since I've read that card, so something like that. Takes me a little time to get used to the new cards when they come out, especially the lesser played ones such as Zamazenta. That is why he is playing Metal Energy in his deck, though, because he wants to be able to build up this Zamazenta to attack with. Reagan is eyeing up playing another Luminion down as well with another Quick Ball. He is able to discard an Archeops to do that. He is going to choose to get a Marnie. Pedro is already shuffling his hand, assuming that the Marnie is coming down, just to save a little bit of time in that regard. Reagan is, of course, still shuffling his own deck. Looks like we are thinking of another Quick Ball or maybe a Lost Vacuum. Yep, another Quick Ball. What are we going to get this time, Reagan? We want to be able to get the double Archeops in play. Do we have the double Archeops in discard pile? Do we have the Lugia VStar in hand already able to be played? We will just have to find out. Looks like we are going to play the Marnie. We Quick Ball for that Lugia just so that we do not draw into it off the Marnie. Always Quick Ball for a card that you're not going to use if you do desire with the Marnie. That is a very interesting way to utilize Marnie. Be like, hey, I don't want to see this off my Marnie, so I'm going to Quick Ball for it now, and then put it to the bottom of my deck. Again, Reagan does not want to be seeing another Lugia. He's already lost one. He has one in play still. He does not play Dunsparce. Looks like he does not get the V-Star, so he is just going to scoop. Pedro is going to win game one entirely off the back of a Raikou with 2 energies and a bench. Oh boy. And game one is over with still 65 minutes approximately still on the clock, so they will have plenty of time for games 2 and 3 still to be going. Come on, buffer. There we go. We are almost done shuffling up now, I do believe. Looks like we are not forcing anybody to be playing wrong-handedly this game, though, which is very odd. There might have been enough Twitter discourse by this point for it to affect the tournament, which is funny to see. About 62 minutes left on the clock still. They are going to put out their prize cards. We're going to see if anything super relevant is prized for both players. We have, it looks like 4 energy cards for Reagan. He'll only have 12 in his deck to work with right now until he starts taking some. 2 capture energies from Pedro as well. So that will be a little annoying for his setup. So we will see exactly how this goes. Pedro is extremely straightening the deck, making sure it is as perfect as possible since he has nothing else to do on his opponent's turn. Reagan does choose to go first since he lost the first game by pretty much a landslide, if I might add. Reagan is deciding what exactly he is going to do with this hand here. Looks like we are going to be benching an Oranguru. I don't see any reason why not to. Looks like we are just going to... We just powerful colorless pass. That's a very interesting decision here from Reagan. If Pedro is able to somehow get 7 energy in the Lost Zone turn 1, he can just take a knockout with Raikou. Let's see, 5, 6, yeah, that would be enough. So that would be, right? That would be 120. So 120 times 2 is 240. So yeah, that would be enough for weakness. Again, Reagan not having the Dunsparce is a little worrying here in this particular matchup. This is probably not the exact person he wanted to see in top 8. He would have liked this guy to be on the other side of the bracket so that this guy has more... So that Pedro has more opportunities to lose before getting to him. Looks like we are doing the generic Battle VIP pass for Radiant Greninja Comfey. As always, that is one of the best things to get off your turn 1 Battle VIP pass in Lost Box. Looks like Reagan's hand is actually pretty good if we're looking at it now. He does have an Evolution Incense and a Professor's Research, so he's probably just trying to make it look like his hand is really bad so that he does not get Marnied or something. I don't believe Pedro will really be playing Marnie anyway, since he is a Lost Box deck. Those decks don't generally tend to play Marnie, or at least if they do, not in high numbers. Some tend to favor just playing Roxanne's. We are going to be able to scoop up net at some point here. We are going to use Greninja's concealed cards to draw 2 more cards. Looks like we do get another Battle VIP pass off of that. We now have 2 Battle VIP pass in hand, even though we have already played 1. I don't see any reason not to just burn those or use one of them as quick ball fodder. Looks like he is going to put maybe one of the Battle VIP passes back. That way he can Lost Zone it with the Comfey. That's not a bad... But it looks like he redraws another Battle VIP pass. So either way, it was a Battle VIP pass on top. He is going to scoop up net. He is going to put the Comfey active. And he is going to be able to use Flower Selecting to Lost Zone one of those Battle VIP passes. He will be able to use the other one to get another Comfey out and maybe the Raikou. Yeah, so we're going to Lost Zone that Battle VIP pass. Does draw into the mana feed. That's not very good. It's usually just there for dying in this particular matchup. We are going to go for the other Battle VIP pass we have here. So I'm assuming probably Raikou, Comfey. Oh no, Cramorant, Comfey. That's fine too. You're not going to likely get to 7 in the Lost Zone, so might as well save the Raikou for later. And just hit 110 with the Cramorant. You can probably very easily get to 4 cards in the Lost Zone on this turn 1 here, especially with the extra Scoop Up Net in hand. But we will have to see what he exactly gets off of these. If he can dig into a Colress's Experiment, that would be perfect. That's exactly what he is looking for. He can also reuse that Oranguru as well to put one of that other Battle VIP Pass back on top of the deck if he so desires. Looks like we are going to Scoop Up Net now. We all are going to be putting that other Comfey active now. Now, does he choose to use the Oranguru first to put the Battle VIP Pass on top, or does he choose something else? Looks like he is just going to go in with the Comfey. He wants to dig deeper to have the optimal chance of getting into the Colress's Experiment, but I don't think we are there yet. It looks like he just got the Zamazenta and the Psychic Energy off of it, choosing to Lost Zone the Psychic Energy. And we are going to Quick Ball now. We are going to get rid of maybe the Battle VIP Pass. Funnily enough, he could just play the Battle VIP Pass and get one, save the Quick Ball if he wanted to. But we are not going to go that route. We just want to use up the cards. In case we get Marnied or something, there are less cards to go with. Also, the Quick Ball is going to get the Luminion. He really wants that Colress's Experiment, and that is the way to get it. If you Battle VIP Pass for the Luminion to the bench, it will actually not activate. It has to be played down from your hand. You can't play it directly from your deck. It will not use its ability. So we finally have the Colress's Experiment. We will be able to look at the top 5 and then Lost Zone 2, which will be enough to attack with Cramorant. We just need to make sure that we have one Scoop Up Net or Switch card. Looks like there is a Scoop Up Net in this 5 cards. So this is perfect for Pedro. That is all that he really wants right now. He does have a Roxanne in there, which is something you don't really want to see early with this deck because you don't want to have to Lost Zone it. But looks like that is the way we are going to go. We're going to choose. We have another Colress's Experiment, it looks like, in there as well. So I think he's choosing between his Stadium and the Ordinary Rod. Unless he's trying to keep the Roxanne. No, looks like he's going to go for Lost Zoning the Scoop Up Net, surprisingly enough. I mean, if he has another energy in hand, I suppose he could retreat. And that would work to attack with the Cramorant. So we are going to use the Oranguru to Primate Wisdom, using the Monkey to do the monkey things as the monkey do. We are getting a Mirage Gate off of that. That is interesting. We will be able to Mirage Gate next turn, most likely. Because we will be promoting the Comfey, which will put us at 5 in the Lost Zone, then using Colress's Experiment, which will put us at 7, and then we will have Mirage Gate. We can even Mirage Gate to the Luminion, and then recycle it back into the deck to reuse for Colress's Experiment or another supporter later in the game. Pedro has his discard pile sorted very nicely, I might add. And they still have 53 minutes left. They've already been through one entire game. They should have plenty of time for 2 more. The Cramorant did come up, and it does spit innocently, as it is called, to put 110 damage down onto the Lugia V. We are going to likely see the Lugia VStar come out this turn. We do have the Evolution Incense and a Buffering YouTube. So we do know that that will combo very well with the Professor's Research already in hand here for Reagan. That will discard the Archeops to the discard pile, and we will likely be able to draw into some sort of out to get to the Lugia V-Star, hopefully. Reagan will also be looking for possibly another bench Pokemon, possibly another attacker, because he does have his only Pokemon in play as being damaged here. We are going to Lost Vacuum. Looks like we're going to Lost Zone Serena to get rid of the Air Balloon. That is a fantastic way to utilize that. You already know your opponent is likely getting to 7 in the Lost Zone anyway, so might as well just do with the Lost Vacuum. We are going to attach a powerful colorless energy for a turn. We now have 2 of them there. We are going to Choice Belt the Oranguru in case that somehow makes a difference. Because it really could. He can attack for 100, and with powerful colorless energies, that damage could even stack more. He could hit for up to 140 because of that Choice Belt. We are going to Evolution Incense again after we have used that research. We are going to go for yet another Archeops. Hopefully he has a way to discard that like an Ultra Ball. An Ultra Ball would be perfect here, because that would also get the Lugia V-Star if he does not have that already. I have not been able to see his hand yet. Yep, and we are going for the Archeops. We are also just checking our deck a little bit more to see if certain cards are prized. Yep, looks like we are Ultra Balling here. Yep, Ultra Ball, discarding double Archeops even. Fantastic. So we have, I think, 3 total Archeops in the discard pile now. And that will get the Lugia V-Star. It almost makes me wonder if Reagan should have used the Evolution Incense to just get the Lugia V-Star if he already had an Archeops in the hand. But maybe there was not a card that he wanted to discard, so might as well just search up the Archeops. Oh, looks like he's getting Lugia V. He might already have the V-Star in hand. Yes, he does. Yep, so we are going to evolve to the V-Star. And we are going to use our Summoning Star to put 2 Archeops into play directly from the discard pile. Any 2 colorless Pokemon. Does not matter that the Archeops is stage 2. It is a colorless Pokemon, and therefore Summoning Star does not care. It will just put it in play. Lugia on the screen above my head. Looks like he's about to give me a big old bear hug from behind there. We are using our first Primal Turbo, the ability of Archeops to get 2 energies from deck into play. We are going to just put a double Turbo energy onto Lugia V-Star. He's also considering his second Primal Turbo. He is going to put 2 energies that don't really matter what they are to the Lugia V, because Lugia does attack for just colorless energies since it is a colorless Pokemon. That is because in the Pokemon video games, it is a flying type. All colorless and flying type Pokemon in the video games are printed as colorless Pokemon. Other Pokemon such as Poison are printed as dark. Fairy types are printed as psychic. Rock and ground types are printed as fighting. It is very interesting, but it would be far too many colors to have in the trading card game if we were to do one of every type. It's more fair in the video game than it is in the trading card game. They had to get rid of our fairy types in order to rebalance the game and made them all psychic, and it's big sad that we don't have pink Pokemon anymore. We just have purple. We are going to now Colress's Experiment. We are going to look at the top 5 cards of our deck yet again. We are going to have enough in our Lost Zone to be able to Mirage Gate. So we are going to have to see. It looks like it's Quick Ball and all energy. I would say that that is definitely the correct choice, getting rid of the Quick Ball and the Capture Energy. You already have Raikou in hand, so you might as well do those 2. It would be nice. I didn't notice if he has Choice Belt in his hand, but if he does, no, that doesn't matter. You'd still be too short with Luminian. You'd still be 22 short. So Pedro's hand is very much full of energy. That is not what you like to see. This is one of the faults of the Lost Box deck, is how many energies you can just draw into. The same with Lugia, though. Lugia can just draw into a hand of all special energies and then not be able to do anything about it. This is why these two decks play cards like Oranguru. They could put those cards back into the deck and then be able to accelerate them back into play with something along the lines of Mirage Gate or Archeops. Yeah, Pedro seems a little stressed here. He's not quite sure what to do. I think you can put down the Raikou and Mirage Gate to it. The only problem is you're trading 2 prizes for 2 prizes. And you're not really getting the full value out of that Cramorant attack you did in the previous turn. So maybe attack with Greninja here could be possible. You could always just attack with Greninja and go into the 2 Archeops. And then go for a Sableye in a future turn. You did Lost Zone 1 Sableye. I would assume you still have another one, though. And most Lost Boxes play 2 Sableyes. So we just Mirage Gated. I'm not quite sure to what because I can't see the screen. Looks like to the Zamazenta. That is not a bad attacker here. That is another 1 prizer. So that will be able to take the knockout on the Lugia VStar without having to give too many prize cards. Then you can knock out the next Lugia VStar with the Raikou. Utilizing yet another Mirage Gate in the next turn, hopefully. So we are going to put Training Court into play as well. We will be able to bring back one of the energies. We are going to bring back the Metal and attach it for turn to the Zamazenta. We just now need to move the Comfey. Looks like we do have Switch Cart. We are going to be able to bring up Zamazenta. We will hit for what is called way more than enough damage to blow this Lugia straight out of the sky. Pedro also being very meticulous with how he places those markers to show whether or not he's used abilities. Even puts one on the Training Court to show that he used that. I really like to see players do things like that. Making sure the play is as clean as possible. Keeping track of everything that you can keep track of. We are going to see an Evolution Incense that will be getting the Lugia V-Star so that we can attack this turn. It's just very unfortunate that I believe Pedro may have the tools to just attack with Raikou next. We'll have to see if Reagan has a way out of this. Actually, no. He has the Raikou in hand, but he does not have a Mirage Gate. And of course, he does have all of those energies. That is a very large hand for Pedro, but is also very dead. So hopefully Reagan is able to identify that somehow and is not going to Marnie. I'm not sure what exactly is in Reagan's hand, but if I were him and I had a Marnie, I would be playing it. So we are going to attach a double turbo for turn. Or no, a double turbo with the one Arceus's Primal Turbo. And then we are using the other Arceus... did I say Arceus? Archeops. Jesus Christ. We are using the one Archeops to put the one double turbo onto the Lugia, and we are using the other one to put a capture energy onto itself. That way we have a way to retreat into whatever we want to bench on the next turn, should it be something along the lines of Luminian, or if we want to get another attacker such as Radiant Charizard. We are also going to use the monkey business of the Primate Wisdom Oranguru. And we are going to Marnie. So that is exactly what I did not want to see from Reagan. This is going to potentially make Pedro's hand actually a lot better. Because all of there's like 3 or 4 energy going back into the deck now. And that's 4 to 5 cards deeper that he can get. And a Mirage Gate. Actually, no, does not look like something too good there. We are now missing the Raikou. He does have a Raihan, but he's gonna need either Mirage Gate or Raikou to be a draw for turn here in order for him to really be able to utilize this situation to the fullest here. So again, Pedro just spreading his discard pile out as cleanly as possible so that he is able to, at a glance, realize what he has already utilized and not have to finger through his discard pile multiple times. So we do see the promotion of the Comfey after the Lugia uses its attack to knock out the Zamazenta and discard the Stadium in play as well. So that's one less way that Pedro will also be able to reutilize the same energies multiple times. We do have the concealed cards from Greninja to draw 2 cards. We'll also have the Monkey Primate Wisdom here as well. And it looks like we did draw into a Colress's Experiment. We can use that to dig even deeper as well. Although, is Raihan better here or is Colress's Experiment better here? Because you need to attack with Raikou now. You have the amount of Pokemon in play that you need to one-shot this Lugia. Dude, imagine if Weakness Guard energy was in format. Lugia would just be insanely broken. You wouldn't even need to play Dunsparce. I would probably play that over V-Guard energy, honestly. Although V-Guard energy is really good. V-Guard energy is great against Mew in the mirror. We are going to use that Colress's Experiment. We do get to the Mirage Gate, but again, no Raikou. So it looks like Pedro, even though he had one of the cards he needed, and then now he has the opposite card he needed after the Marnie. Also, I should talk about the records. Pedro here is 9-0-5. He has not lost a single match up until this point. Every time he did not win, he tied. Reagan, however, does have 10 wins, which is 1 more win than Pedro. However, he also has 2 losses and 2 ties. So Pedro's record, honestly, looking a little bit better in a way. We are using Flower Selecting to get rid of yet another Escape Rope. Choosing to grab the Snorlax with that. That is not a bad thing. You could attack with Cramorant. Did he have Cramorant? I think he had no, I guess not. No Cramorant in hand. You can attack with the Snorlax and then be able to finish off the Lugia next turn with a Cramorant. That is something that you could do. That is possible. We are going to use Ordinary Rod. We're going to put back in Cramorant, Zamazenta, Metal Energy, and one other energy. We're trying to decide which one exactly. Looks like Psychic Energy. That'll be able to allow Sableye to attack if possible. I like how they have the small TVs there at the foot of the stream area, so that the people who are in the front row can watch that as well. Because usually they have gigantic monitors up at the top, but if you're in the front row, you really have to, it's like at the movie theater, you have to look really far up to see it. I hate sitting in the front row at the movie theater. That's why I always try to see movies a couple days after they come out, so that that doesn't happen. But then, of course, you have to avoid TikTok for those 2 days. Speaking of which, I need to see Ant-Man. But I don't want to spend money to watch Ant-Man, so I'm going to wait for Disney+. I haven't even watched Black Panther 2 yet. I'm really slacking. We are going to see that Mirage Gate. That is going to probably go directly onto the Snorlax here. We're going to go, it looks like Metal Water Energy to Snorlax. What is left? Looks like they're... Yeah, I'm not sure why Pedro recycled the Zamazenta if he was going to put the Metal Energy onto Snorlax. He does not have 2 Metal Energy left. Unless he plays Energy Recycler, in which case then he could do that in a future turn and still be able to attack with the Zamazenta yet again. So we do need an attach for turn as well. Looks like we are going to do Scoop Up Net on the Oranguru. Looks like he's trying to dig one more card deeper for an energy, maybe? This is kind of odd. Oh, it is another Mirage Gate, so we did get there. Escape Rope is a very unfortunate way of switching here. He is going to now have to attack an Archeops or an Oranguru, most likely the Oranguru from Reagan. I wouldn't assume that he would put an Archeops out to die at this point. Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a decision. I think you just put up the Oranguru because it's not Lugia and it's not Archeops. Like, it's not your attacker, so just put up the Oranguru and let the Choice Belt go down. You're not going to hit for 100 at any point. It's really great for consistency, but... Like, would you rather lose 2 energy a turn? Looks like Snorlax is coming up. Is this still the same? I think this is still the same turn that he used Chorus's Experiment, right? Pedro has been having a very, very long turn. Yeah, I think he used Chorus's Experiment this turn. I think this is a double supporter. I mean, I could be completely wrong. Unless he's playing Mirage Gate and not the Raihan. Which I could just be that dumb and be realizing it wrong too. It looks like we do flip one of the tails for Snorlax. Snorlax does have to flip 2 coins for sleep instead of 1 with his ability. So he is going to go to sleep after knocking out this Oranguru. I believe Reagan here is really in the position to win, surprisingly enough. Snorlax does have 150 HP, so if we have enough powerful energy still in deck, Reagan can just use an Archeops to knock it out, not have to put up a 2-prize Pokemon. He could start playing this as a 1-prize game, just go in with a couple Archeops and maybe a Charizard. Maybe get a nice Boss or Serena onto the Luminion to finish off the game. I think that the best way... I think that if you have Boss or Serena, you don't use it this turn because you can remove the Snorlax from the board. He had to use, I think, 2 Mirage Gates in order to... Yeah, I think it was just a Mirage Gate. Yeah, I think he used 2 Mirage Gates to power up Snorlax Comfey. Yeah, he didn't use the Raihan, so that's not a double supporter. He used another Mirage Gate. So that's my mistake. I saw the wrong card. But that's because these camera angles suck sometimes, so I apologize. Looks like Reagan is deciding on what he wants to be as his additional single prize attacker. As long as he has enough Aurora energy here, I definitely would be going with the Raikou. He can also just retreat the Archeops as well, go into the Raikou and take 2 prize cards. As long as he has boss's orders. He also has the ability to go in with Stoutland potentially and knock out a Comfey, take 2 prize cards that way. Lugia has a lot of options to be able to come back in the prize trade against single prize decks like that. Unfortunately, Manaphy is in play, so it's not ideal to go in with the Raikou. I've been hearing a lot of people complain about Manaphy recently, saying it's like a broken card in this particular format. We've had cards with the exact same type of ability as Manaphy before, and they were always very healthy in my opinion. Darkrai was always still the best deck. Darkrai EX was always still the best deck when Mr. Mime was in format, which had the same ability. There was even a Squirtle that protected itself from damage when it's on the bench, and it had 60 HP. So, it was never really a problem. There were also a bit better ability locks in that format in the form of Garbodor. But looks like we are using Primal Turbo to power up the Stoutland. We are going to go an Aurora and a Powerful, and then attach Powerful Colorless Energy for turn from hand. Luminion for boss's orders. It looks like we may be taking out the... Are we going to take out the Comfey or the Manaphy? I would say probably the Comfey, because you, at this point, likely don't have enough energies to power up Raikou. You've used 1 Aurora energy on the Stoutland and 1 Speed Lightning on the Lugia, so you would have at most the 3 Auroras left. And at this point in the game, it might not be possible. You might have already used 1. So you are going to bring up the Comfey, you're going to retreat the Archeops, and you are going to take 2 prize cards just off of a Comfey here. Snorlax will not be able to one-shot you in return, but if it does, you will be at 1 prize, or 2 prize cards remaining actually. You will be 1 boss's orders away, or Serena, away from winning the game. So Reagan's last 2 prizes are Heat, Fire, and Aurora, so that is correct. He does not have access to 3 Aurora in deck, because there is 1 in prize cards. But again, it's not great to attack with Raikou when your opponent has Manaphy on the bench. It would be nice if something like Canceling Cologne could turn off the ability of something on the bench. I think that would be fair. Then Manaphy is still a good card, but you can shut it off more easily. Otherwise, Canceling Cologne is just not a good card. Looks like Pedro's really sweating this game out here. I think it's just because he doesn't really have many good options for attacking. He does have this Snorlax here, but he needs a Choice Belt in order to be able to take out this Stoutland. And if he doesn't take out the Stoutland, Reagan is 1 more boss's orders or Serena away from winning the game. Reagan can always just charge 1 more energy onto the Stoutland, Serena up the Luminion, and take that knockout. And then they go on to game 3. So I do think that this is Reagan's game to win. He is up 1 prize currently. Can Pedro get to the Choice Belt that he needs to knock out the Stoutland and continue on his current path to victory? He does have a Raihan. There was a knockout taken. Does he have another Choice Belt available to him? He may be down 1 already. I don't know if he's playing Choice Belt, though. I don't remember if I've seen it, honestly. We are going to go capture energy onto the Snorlax, it looks like. Snorlax does have a 4 retreat cost. Maybe he's thinking about retreating it, but I don't think so. I don't see Choice Belt in this deck right now. I really do not. Also, the Stoutland is not weak to Raikou V. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Pokemon times 2 plus times 20 is 180 plus 20 is 220. So actually that is the knockout. We are going to attach for turn, or no, we're going to Raihan onto the Raikou. So that is going to be able to knock out the Stoutland. Pedro will go down to 1 prize card remaining. We'll have to see if Reagan does have the Serena or not for game. Or even if, actually no, because if he attacks with Raikou, he just puts, Reagan just puts up the Lugia. Oh no, if he puts up the Lugia, he'll be 10 short because he has the double turbo on it. He'll only be doing 200. So at this point, I believe Pedro is attempting... Oh, he has Sky Seal Stone as well. He does need an energy to attach for turn, though. I don't think he has that. So he... Wait, so he Raihan'd and doesn't have the energy to attack? So I guess he's just hoping that Reagan does not have the Boss or Serena. It looks like he does. He Luminions for Boss's orders to take out the Luminion to win the game. Yeah, so that was Pedro's out. He needed to set up the Raikou in 1 turn while using Sky Seal Stone to knock out the Stoutland and take 3 prize cards. So Pedro did play that perfectly, but that was unfortunately not in the cards for him. He was just 1 card short, an energy card in hand, whereas earlier in the game, he had so many turns where he just had a ton of energy in hand and nothing to do with them. And then he just whiffs energy the turn he needs to attach for turn. Unbelievable. Reagan being able to pull that one out, honestly, by sheer luck. I think that this was Pedro's match to win, and he just whiffed, unfortunately, in that game. So we'll have to see if Pedro is able to come back in this game 3 and be able to pull off a win like he did in game 1, or almost did in game 2. He just has to draw a little bit better than he has. Reagan could also always just brick as well. We have seen that from Lugia players, just starting one Lugia and passing. We've seen a donk where a Kramer just knocked out an Evital to win. Ooh, double Chorus's Experiment, and they're at the top of the prize cards. Pedro's really going to need to find his Hisuian Heavy Ball to grab that Zamazenta and shuffle the Chorus's Experiments down back to the bottom cards of the prizes. Unless Pedro's Psychic type and is able to know that the Chorus's Experiments are in the top 2 prize cards and takes them in what is essentially the opposite way that a player normally would. You know, he's likely not going to be playing too many Choruses this game. We do get the Luminion off of this Radiant Greninja's concealed cards, though. So that is pretty decent. We are going to scoop up net the Greninja and use it again to draw another 2 cards. Not too bad, especially since we just got that Oranguru. We're going to do some monkey business times to put a card on the top of the deck to draw a different one, potentially. I think that we want to use the Luminion first. Well, no, because we can't use Luminion this turn, right? So we're going to have to wait for next turn. So he puts that on top with the Oranguru, benches the Cramorant, and he will likely just pass from here unless he wants to attach for turn. No, he doesn't even have any energy left. So just a pass from there. Reagan does start with the Lugia V. Not the ideal starter when you are going second. We are going to start with a Luminion V. He might just go for a Marnie. I don't think that that is the correct choice, though. Unless he has a bunch of energy in hand, I don't think he should Marnie. He would really like to research and draw a whole bunch of cards right here, just to make sure he is as set up as possible. Hopefully he has a couple Archeops in hand that he could discard with that. Looks like he is going for the Marnie, so he must have some cards in hand that are not worth discarding. Pedro does have a sizable amount of cards in hand, I think 5 or 6, so Marnie could disrupt him a good deal. He does have exactly what he wants on the top of the deck, though, so it's not going to disrupt him too much. Yeah, it looks like maybe a couple energy cards. Look like we're going to Aurora Energy, discard the Choice Belt, and then Marnie. So yeah, not ideal, of course, but that is the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes you just have to attach energy when you can. He does want to conserve the powerful colorless energy for later in the game on Stoutland, so I agree attaching the Aurora there. He knows his opponent is playing Manaphy, so maybe the Raikou won't be his greatest ally in this match. So by putting the Aurora energy there might not make too much of a difference. Plus, he should still have the Speed Lightning and 3 more Aurora energies. If he does want to attack with the Raikou at some point, he will be able to do so. We are going to Evolution Incense. We are getting an Archeops. So this will hopefully be our first one in the discard pile here. Maybe there is another one in an Ultra Ball. I would love to see that. Looks like there is another Lugia V, perfect to get down when you're going second. And we are going to Read the Wind, discarding the 1 Archeops, drawing into a Quick Ball and a Lugia V-Star, along with, I believe, a Research. That was a very good 3 cards to draw for Read the Wind. So Reagan's hand is pretty set up well now. Looks like Pedro does have he does have a Colress's Experiment here that he drew off of the Marnie, so he does not have to play the Luminion yet. He can save that for an additional turn. Remember, he did prize 2 Colress's Experiment, so there is 1 more left in deck. He will more than likely have to use the Luminion in order to draw into it. Pedro now has 3 energy in the discard pile. He's used concealed cards 3 times over the course of 2 turns. He's able to draw into another Comfey. He has an escape, he has a scoop up net, so he will be able to use this Comfey and to the next Comfey at the bare minimum. Looks like we are going to get rid of the Training Court. We are going to bench the other Comfey. I would believe a scoop up net will be in our future here. Yes, I do see it. He could always scoop up net and then retreat the Comfey with the, I believe there's a Metal Energy in his hand, and then he can attack with the Cramorant. He'll have 5 in the Lost Zone. He'll be able to get up to 8 in the next turn without too much effort. Let's see, we got the Hisuian Heavy Ball, and no, oh no. Yeah, so he Lost Zone, so that's perfectly fine, honestly. He's not going to be able to see his Hisuian, or his Zamazenta until much later in the game, and also those Colress's Experiments in the prize cards will stay at the top. So, of course, Pedro does not really know this, probably playing a little faster as well due to the fact that they are in Game 3. You always want to play faster when you're in Game 3 so that you don't tie. They did start with 75 minutes, so they do have 20 minutes left. It should be plenty of time to finish this match, but there will be a winner. Even in the event of a tie, they will go by prize cards. Since this is the single elimination portion of the tournament, it is the top 8 cut, the playoffs, if you will. We are going to use the switch cart. We are going to switch into the Cramorant and then just spit not so innocently onto this Lugia. Looks like we are also benching Snorlax and attaching for turn. I like that. The switch cart was better since he was now able to attach for turn onto the Snorlax. He'll just be 1 Mirage Gate away from it being fully powered up. We do see the Quick Ball discarding the Manaphy. It is going to, looks like, get the Raikou. It is possible we're going to see 2 prizes be taken this turn with the Raikou. So that is a little scary. Yeah, since Pedro does not have Manaphy yet, that is the window Reagan has to get off the Raikou. He has 4 potential energies to fulfill its 3 attacks. All that we need to see is we need to see that double Archeops in discard. I believe we only have the 1 right now from the Read the Wind that we did with Lugia. I know that a lot of people used to make fun of Palkia's Rule of the Region. You only use that when you're losing, and at first it did seem like Lugia V's Read the Wind was a similar situation. However, there are just a lot of times where Read the Wind really gets you to where you need to be. You can discard your Archeops. You can just get into exactly what you need by drawing 3 cards. I've drawn Evolution Incense as the 3rd card off of Read the Wind, needing it for the next turn to get the Lugia V-Star, and discarding an Archeops as well in the process to do the Read the Wind. Absolutely amazing attack. We are going to evolve into Lugia V-Star. We are likely going to... we already attached for turn onto the Raikou, the Speed Lightning energy, which allowed him to draw an additional 2 cards. We just need the 2 Archeops. I believe we may have... Looks like there is one. We do see another Evolution Incense. We did research into a whole bunch of cards. There will likely be another way to discard a card in hand. Aurora Energy won't work since you already attached for turn. Hopefully there are still 2 Auroras left in deck. It looks like he did not draw any Auroras. He has the Ultra Ball. He will be able to discard the second Archeops. He is just deciding what he wants that second card discarded to be. I believe that the Lost Vacuum should be perfectly fine. There's nothing super scary in Pedro's deck, like Path to the Peak or anything, that you really have to worry about. But he is going for the discard of the Serena instead, which is also perfectly fine. We are going to get the Luminion V. We are going to use its ability potentially in a future turn, but we are really just utilizing that Ultra Ball to discard the Archeops. So we do get the 2 Archeops in play with the VStar. He did not flip his VStar marker yet, but hopefully we get that fixed soon. Thanks for Pedro for being a bro there. We are going to likely put a couple energies onto this Lugia VStar so that it can retreat. If we have a double turbo, it would have been nice to see that get charged to it as well, so that would fulfill the whole retreat cost. But looks like we're just going with a Heat Fire energy. Looks like Reagan has no intention of ever attacking with Charizard. But he does have, I believe, 1 Aurora energy left, so if he does want to attack with Charizard, that is still an option. And he has all the powerful colorless energies still left in deck and prizes to put on the Stoutland. So we are going to knock out Oranguru and Cramorant at the same time. The Oranguru is a really great consistency option that there no longer is access to. The Comphase, we are already likely seeing 7 in the Lost Zone, so Reagan does not care about the Comphase so much. He also wants to leave those in play so that the Stoutland can pick them off. So he takes out the ones that Raikou can knock out that Stoutland cannot, leaving it so that the Stoutland can come and use double dip Fangs later in the game. So Reagan's looking to take a bunch of 2 prize turns back to back to back. Just goes to show the strength of the Lugia deck being so versatile in that way, to be able to play things that both hit the bench and can just take straight up additional prize cards on small Pokemon. You can even play 1/1 Greedent VMAX if you really wanted to be greedy. It has extra HP and a different weakness than Lugia, and that can take 3 prize cards at once off of a Comphase. I think if you are super scared of the Lost Box matchup specifically, I think that Greedent VMAX is your friend in the Lugia deck. It's a little less consistent than Stoutland, but it does get you there faster. It's a lot harder for them to knock out in one hit. Alright, looks like we are going for the Mirage Gate from Pedro here. We do have enough in the Lost Zone now. I believe we have 8, it looks like. A couple of those cards are off screen, you can't really see them, but it does say 8 on the Lost Zone counter by his left hand under the Greninja. So we are going to get 2 energy. Oh, looks like we are going for the Luminion. Luminion can actually attack this Raikou and knock it out. So we just need an attach for turn. Looks like there are no energy in Pedro's hand, though. He does have another Mirage Gate he could play to get the rest of the way there. Maybe put 1 on the Snorlax and 1 on the Luminion. That should work fine. Looks like we are going to go for the Comphase. We do need to retreat that thing, so that is a perfect choice. But it's a little scary being down 2 Mirage Gates already when you still need it to charge up the Snorlax and on a Raikou in the future. And I believe that the only reason that Pedro is as favored in this game as he is already is because of the fact that Reagan just does not play the Dunsparce. But as you can see, Reagan just knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how to exactly play around the fact that he does not have Dunsparce and save that deck space for something that he values as even more important. It looks like we do use the attack with the Luminion. That will shuffle itself and the 3 energy attached to it back into the deck for Pedro. And he will be able to take his first prize card of the game. Now, I do assume that that Reagan's next play will be to get out the Stoutland, put an energy on Luminion to retreat, and then put some powerful colorless energies on Stoutland. He needs 2 on the Stoutland and then 1 other just to fulfill the attack cost. He does have... it looks like we have top 8 results on the bottom of the screen as well. Rahul wins 2-1 over Raz Wolp. Owen Cameraman wins 2-1 over Grant Shen. Those were both 3-game matches. Azul wins 2-0 against Yurko Valencia. So every match of top 8 has concluded except for this streamed match of Pedro versus Reagan. So we will have to see if he gets there exactly. Looks like we are just going to go for the powerful colorless energy onto the Luminion V. Maybe Reagan is not in the ballpark of having the Stoutland attack yet. Yep, looks like we are going for yet another Luminion. We are going to go for a Marnie, it looks like. He knows Pedro has a considerable amount of cards in hand, so maybe he is trying to limit those options there. Marnie is a fantastic card against Lost Box, so is Roxanne. Lost Box always loves to build up their big hand, and they do not like it going to the bottom of their deck or be shuffled back in. Same with Judge as well. Judge is very good against them as well. So we are going to go in with the second Primal Turbo now. Looks like we will... I believe we will probably be... If we're not powering up Luminion V in the active, we might be powering up something on the bench, like the other Lugia V. Or maybe just an Archeops getting like a capture energy on it or something. There is a double turbo. You could always just put double turbo on your active. No, it looks like we are going double turbo to the Lugia V that is undamaged on the bench, as well as a powerful colorless energy. So there are only 2 left for Stoutland, so we will have to see if Reagan can get to the Stoutland to take those prizes on the comp phase. Reagan does have an energy in hand to attach. Dropping some cards accidentally into his discard pile, fixing that quite easily. He is going to attach an energy for turn. That is that V-Guard energy. He's going to evolve to Lugia VStar and Marnie. So thinning out his deck, his hand as much as possible so that his deck is as full of live cards as possible. He's going to draw 5 cards. Pedro is going to put his hand to the bottom as well, and he's only going to draw 4. Looks like Pedro does get to the Roxanne, so that could mess Reagan up a whole lot. We'll have to see if Reagan will be able to draw very well off of this Roxanne or not. Pedro could always whiff off of it as well. We do see the Luminion attack. We are going to, looks like, promote an Archeops. That is the best thing to promote here. You do want to put a 1 prizer. If you can, you do not want to promote one of those Lugias and let that take a big hit. Especially since then it would be forced into attacking on the next turn. So, the risks of only 1 Primal Turbo outweigh the fact of Pedro taking 2 prize cards. Reagan now takes an additional prize card, so now he is down to 3 remaining. That does let Pedro play that Roxanne. We'll have to see who draws better off of this Roxanne. Convey is going to use its ability. I always like to play the Roxanne first so that then I have an even bigger hand after the Roxanne is played. Especially since, as you can see, he now has to pick between one of his last 2 Mirage Gates and his Raikou. And he really needs that Raikou in order to win the game. So this flower selecting in particular may lose Pedro the game. So he did check his discard and then put the Mirage Gate in there. Reagan is now going to check to see how many Mirage Gates are gone. He does see 2 in the discard and the 1 in the lost zone. So he knows that Pedro's options for powering up Raikou in the future are limited. If he can boss or Serena up the Raikou if it comes down, because it will likely take 2 turns to power up, Reagan can just kind of win here. Because then his last remaining attacking option will be Snorlax. Especially since that Zamazenta is still in the prize cards. So Reagan just switches to the other Archeops when Pedro's Escape Rope is played. Pedro is going to go in with the Snorlax. He is going to capture energy. We are going to get out another Pokemon onto the bench. Looks like we do have the option of a Cramorant. I think that Manaphy might be pretty good, although the Raikou's already gone, right? So you don't need the Manaphy. Manaphy's pretty useless. Looks like we are going for the Cramorant. Yeah, this is very quickly looking very bad for Pedro. We are going to use Luminion to grab a supporter card from deck. That will be the Raihan. We can Raihan to the Snorlax and be able to attack with it. Now we can search our deck for any one card. We can search for the final Mirage Gate should it still be in there, and it is. Looks like we do have a Sky Seal Stone there as well. So he's choosing the Sky Seal Stone. He will still need the Mirage Gate to attack with the Raikou, though. Yeah, so what he's going to have to do in order to win the game is he takes this knockout with Snorlax here. The Snorlax needs to be knocked out specifically, I believe. Then he needs to be able to Mirage Gate to a Raikou. Switch into it, and Sky Seal Stone knock out the Lugia VStar for 3 prize cards. That'll leave him with 2 remaining. Reagan won't have any more options to attack with that can knock out the Raikou, and then Pedro will be able to win. So very meticulous you have to play as the Lost Box deck. It is a very complicated deck to play. Unfortunately, it looks like there will be another additional attacker in the future as a double turbo energy comes down from deck onto the Lugia V-Star on the bench, and the Luminion is bossed up and knocked out with the Lugia. Now Reagan is down to 1 prize remaining. Pedro has lost the game. There is no way for Pedro to win now, no matter what he does. Looks like Reagan has to read Sky Steel Stone. He has no idea what it does. That's hilarious. And he is going to Roxanne as well. So the thing is if Reagan just has 2 energies left in his deck, he wins the game. As long as, actually, one of them has to be powerful colorless energy, because the double turbo does reduce damage it does by 20. So this Lugia can only hit 200. No, the Raikou has 200, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, as long as Reagan has any 2 energy left between his deck and his hand, he is able to win. So yeah, I do believe that is game. There is still 3.5 minutes left on this clock, but the game will finish before the time is called. Pedro is trying everything he possibly can to not lose the game and to win the game. However, he's just hoping at this point that Reagan just does not have the energy to win. Yeah, you could see him shaking his head there. He knows that he's lost, but he is just still playing. He's still trying, because you're in the top 8. And at this point, every match you play is such a large money match. So Comfey will flower selecting. We do have another energy and a scoop up net. Looks like we're going to loss zone the energy. We have another one to attach for turn. Unless we already... No, we already touched the lightning for turn. We are going to use Greninja to draw 2 cards. Pedro still has 3 cards remaining in deck. I don't... Has he not gotten the Mirage Gate yet? Oh, his last card is the Mirage Gate? Oh no, he shows his opponent the last card in deck that he missed it. He does have Ordinary Rod in his hand, so he would have been able to Ordinary Rod some energy back in. So he does shake Reagan's hand. Reagan is the winner of this top 8 match. Basically, just because Pedro bricked a lot. So, very unfortunate, but that is exactly what it is like when I play Lost Box. Actually, it's much worse, honestly. Pedro, very unhappy, but he played amazingly. Should be proud of himself. Unfortunately, Reagan, because he is playing Lugia, it is just a much more consistent and powerful deck. So, he is able to go the distance. And as I say, if you're going to play in a big tournament like this, you do have to make sure that you are playing a deck that is as consistent as possible. Looks like Reagan just like runs off the stage. He's probably hugging and cheering with his friends. And yeah, that is it for that, guys. We will be back for top 4 in the next video. Do not forget to feed the hungry YouTube algorithm. They should make that into a board game. Like, just to replace the hippos with little YouTube logos. Hungry hippos. By feed the hungry YouTube algorithm the comments, likes, and subscribes. Subscribing is free on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch. All the links to all of my socials and Twitch and everything are in the description box below. And I will see you guys next time for that top 8 match.